Federal government scale up
we had a chat with her, and it was a very fruitful discussion.
First Lady meets National Population Commission UNICEF ahead of birth registration commemorative lunch. Ocean records fresh case of mpox as government activities incident emergency system to contain spread. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 6 and NTA News 24. My name is Olajide Bello. Many thanks for joining us. Nigeria's gross domestic product GDP grew by 3.19% year-on-year in real terms in the second quarter of 2024. Figures released Monday morning by the National Bureau of Statistics indicate that the GDP growth was higher than the 2.98% recorded in the first quarter of 2024 and higher than the 2.51% of the second quarter of 2023. The performance of the GDP in the second quarter of 2024 was driven by the services sector, which recorded a growth of 3.79%, and agriculture sector grew by 1.41%, and industry sector grew by 3.53%, an improvement from minus 1.94% recorded in the second quarter of 2023. In the quarter under review, aggregate GDP its basic price stood at 60.9 million in nominal terms. This performance is higher when compared to the second quarter of 2023, which recorded aggregate GDP of 52.1 million, indicating year-on-year nominal growth of 16.94%. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has welcomed the latest report by the National Bureau of Statistics on the state of the economy as the country's gross national product, domestic product, posted another growth. According to NBS, the real GDP grew by 3.2% year-on-year in quarters 2, higher than the 2.51% recorded in the same period of 2023. A statement by the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, indicates that after another report on declining food and headline inflation, this latest report affirms the economy is on the right trajectory and is indeed on the path of recovery. The administration reiterates that this government will continue to work assiduously to rekindle Nigeria's hope and confidence, assuring that President Tinubu is working to build a solid and resilient economy. The advisor added that President Tinubu urged Nigerians to retain their faith in the government and not to allow themselves to be swayed by naysayers intent in aborting and undermining the current reforms for their selfish ends. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of new Directors General of the National Intelligence Agency (NIA) and the Department of State Services (DSS). Ambassador Mohammed is the new Director General of the NIA, and Adeola Oluwatosin Ajayi is the new Director General of the DSS. Ambassador Mohammed has held an illustrious career in the Foreign Service since joining the NIA in 1995. He had served in various roles, culminating in his promotion to the rank of director and subsequent appointment as the head of the Nigerian mission to Libya. The 1990 graduate of Bayero University, Kano, had served in North Korea, Pakistan, Sudan, and at the State House, Abuja. The new Director General of the DSS, Adeola Ajayi, rose through the ranks to attain his current post of Assistant Director General of the service. He had at various times served as State Director in Bauchi, Enugu, Bayelsa, Rivers, and Kogi. The new appointment follows the resignation of the previous NIA and DSS chiefs. President Tinubu, in a statement by the special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajiri Ngelale, expects that new security chiefs will work assiduously to reposition the two intelligence agencies for better results and charges them to bring their experience to bear in tackling the security challenges bedeviling the country through enhanced collaboration with sister agencies and the surgical alignment with the Office of the National Security Advisor. The President thanks the outgoing Directors General of the two pivotal agencies for their services to the nation while wishing them success in their future endeavors. Anxiety is mounting among some farming communities in Kano State following recent flooding wreaking havoc, which is posing dangers to bumper harvest. Yahanusa Hassan Barau, who visited affected communities in Dawakin Tofa and Tofa local government areas, reports that urgent action needs to be in place to mitigate the impact of the flood to avoid future occurrence.
Farmers in Dawakin Tofa and Tofa local government areas of Kano State are reeling from the devastating impact of flooding, which has ravaged their farmlands and resulted in losses worth millions of naira. This is not an isolated incident, as the communities have been battling with flood every rainy season for years. The latest deluge has dashed hopes of a bumper harvest, leaving farmers like Ibrahim in a state of despair. Having invested his life savings in his farm, Ibrahim is now faced with the daunting prospect of feeding his family.
We were in the farm working. We just saw rain coming, water coming out, flowing from the west. There was a river behind it, so it overflowed all the farm. We have to leave it. There was nothing we can do during that time. Whatever, the only thing you can see is just to see water.
The calamity was triggered by the overflow of a nearby dam and its tributaries in Bagway and River Watari. Records indicate that hundreds of farmlands have been washed away, with crops like maize, rice and tomatoes destroyed.
Now it happens. One, we cannot get anything. Second, we don't have the capital even to do irrigation farming.
The affected farmers are in a state of confusion, appealing to the federal and Kano state government to take immediate action to mitigate the effects of the flood and prevent future occurrences. In Kano, Yahanasa Hassan, NTA News.
Federal government is set to support states with funds to mitigate flooding in affected farming communities. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, supervised while assessing farmlands affected by flood in Kebbi State. Correspondent Abdul Mohammed Bawa reports.
In recent time, Kebbi State has suffered significant losses due to excessive flooding. Many local government areas that cultivate rice in large quantities were severely affected as a result of heavy rainfall, resulting in widespread flooding, damaging farmlands and displacing many communities.
Well, the government is ever ready to ensure that we assisted our farmers so that they will go back to farm, because there are a lot of loss that we have recorded here in Kebbi State.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Economy, Wale Edun, was therefore in Birnin Kebbi to assess the damage for federal government intervention to mitigate flood and boost farming activities.
The National Economic Council has been proactive and has taken action in order to support all the states of the Federation and the FCT with 3 billion naira in flood action funding for them to take action to respond to and to mitigate.
Irrigation facility are going to be expanded along the whole stretch of the 1,000-kilometer road, and a significant part of the irrigation support will be in Kebbi.
Minister Edun promised federal government support to ensure communities affected by flood across the Federation regain their losses. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdul Mohammed Bawa, NTA News.
Osun has recorded a new confirmed case of mpox in Elisha West local government area of the state. Respondent Femi Afaragun reports that the state government has activated incident management system to curtail the spread of the virus.
The new confirmed case of Mpox on a 25-year-old male will be the second case from Elisha West local government area of Osun State this year alone, as a case was recorded there in March. The two cases have triggered the state government to activate incident management system, a coordinated effort involving multiple agencies to control the outbreak, overseeing public health measures.
Had symptoms for 3 weeks, only presented in the hospital on the 19th. So the patient's condition had greatly improved.
I don't entertain any fear whatsoever. COVID-19 came, combated it successfully.
The team says it will ensure contact tracing and engage in public enlightenment on the preventive measures against the new variant of Mpox.
I think it's time we also prompt the tertiary institutions so that as they see cases, we are well notified at the state level.
Please don't let us rest our house as soon as require anything to ensure that we maintain the tempo.
Osun State so far this year has recorded 47 suspected cases of Mpox, with 45 coming out negative and 2 confirmed cases. In Oshogbo, Femi Afaragun, NTA News.
The National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has commenced a 7-day warning strike nationwide. NARD President Dr. Dele Abdullahi, who said the decision was made during the virtual emergency National Executive Council meeting held on Sunday, August 25th, and noted that the strike, which will last 1 week, will be total. The resident doctors' strike is to clamor for the release of their kidnapped colleague, Dr. Ganiat Popola, who has been in captivity for over 8 months. Dr. Ganiat Popola, a registrar in the Department of Ophthalmology at the National Eye Center, Kaduna, was abducted nearly 8 months ago along with her husband and nephew. While her husband was released in March, Popola and her nephew remain in captivity. The Minister of Education, Yusuf Tanko Sunono, has again reiterated that sanitizing the education sector in Nigeria by exiting those found with fake certificates obtained from uncertified foreign universities, though a painful exercise, is a necessary step. To reduce the ceaseless desire for certificate, he says the government is also prioritizing skills through various policies. Lydia Sampson reports.
More insight to the educational dilemma of some Nigerians who obtained fake certificates from unrecognized institutions in Togo and Benin Republics on Good Morning Nigeria. The minister says it is a mess cutting across MDAs that the Ministry of Education is not just owning up to, but taking proactive steps to stop.
So it was a multinational, and it's also interministerial. So you understand, education, interior, foreign affairs, so many security organizations, they were all involved. So it's interministerial. You understand? So we have to do a thorough job. That's why today we can confidently come out to say that the 23,000 fake degrees in the country, based on the recommendation of the council, they should have their everything terminated.
While applauding the journalists who went undercover to provide tangible evidence, he said federal government also conducted investigations in collaboration with the countries in question, leading to the recognition of 3 institutions in Togo and 5 in Benin Republic. Dr. Adeni Ijon, on his part, believes decentralization of oversight is the key to mitigating a recurrence.
Active collaboration between the Federal Ministry of Education in Nigeria and the Ministry of Higher Education in Benin Republic. And I'm happy that he said that within the West African region, because if I'm coming from Benin, I'm coming from Togo to Nigeria to come and work, even the employers should have a standard to verify instead of going to the university website through their QR code to verify a certificate, because you can actually fake a QR code that will direct somebody to somebody's university's website. But if there is a centralized database or verification database within the region, it will go a long way, both for policymakers and the policy users.
They are emphatic that deepening knowledge, character and skills is fundamental across all educational sectors. The girls also urge parents to uphold their roles to mitigate parental failure, making students complicit. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
You're watching the news desk at 6 and NTA News 24. More reports when we return. Thanks for being there. The ever-evolving security threats in Africa requires joint military approach to combat the dynamic security challenges. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the National Defense College is developing the capacity of troops to curtail damages during air raids.
Air assets are a critical component of modern warfare due to their speed and precision in attacking the enemy position. It also plays a vital role in evacuation of both military and civilian casualties during combat operations.
The challenges we face in ensuring and guaranteeing civilian protection.
This training of African Union pilots is therefore aimed at strengthening the capacity of personnel on protection of civilians during peace support operations.
Our troops, our soldiers, they are engaging in a asymmetric theater, in a very difficult theater where they don't know who their enemy is. Therefore, there's a likelihood of inadvertently killing or harming civilians. So this kind of training is to ensure that we give them the necessary guidance to ensure that they are better prepared to fighting an enemy that they don't often know, and to take precautions so that they don't intentionally or mistakenly harm or kill civilians.
It is important that we organize trainings of this nature from time to time to remind ourselves that in as much as we're trying to confront an enemy through kinetic means, we must also protect those civilians who are innocent, who need protection from the same groups that do not want us to have peace.
With 30 participants from different regions of the African continent, the training will also ensure enforcement of professional conduct during combat operation. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
A partnership between Renewed Hope Initiative, National Population Commission and United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, is underway to further ramp up birth registration in the country with a commemorative launch of a 2024 Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day. NPC Chairman Nasir Issa Kwara, who disclosed this after leading development partners to the Office of Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, says the commemorative event, scheduled for August 29, 2024, will mark a major leap in government's efforts to offer Nigerian children their first foundational identity.
Championing this drive. We had a chat with her, and it was a very, very fruitful discussion, and I want to believe that we're going to have a great event ahead of us, and that will mark the full force drive of birth registration to give our children, Nigerian children, first foundational identity and recognition as our children, and have access to government services, especially education and health.
And what is critical is we have been falling short in terms of reaching that obligation. So the Office of the First Lady, through the Renewed Hope Initiative, is a platform that we are now using to make sure that every child's birth in Nigeria, starting on the 29th, which is basically the D-Day for the commencement of the Renewed Hope Initiative project to accelerate birth registration in all parts of the Federation.
And joining me now in the studio to talk more on the NARD strike is the Secretary, Dr. Anaduaka Christopher. You're welcome to the news at 6.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, kidnapping is not just a national issue of concern, but a global one. Why do you feel going on strike is the last option at a time like this, despite federal government and security agencies' efforts?
Thank you very much. I'd rather go into details of this specific case. We have a member of our association. Her name is Dr. Ganiat Popola. She's a registrar and she works at the National Eye Center in Kaduna. She's been kidnapped for almost 8 months now, since December 2023. As a first point of call, we engage the government agencies, which we do as NAD. And we've been engaging them frequently, begging for her release from her kidnappers. And we acknowledge the fact that there's been some efforts, but it has not resulted in anything fruitful. She's still there for 8 months, being held, going through all sorts of trauma and torture. At this time, it's not safe to be a doctor working in a government institution. Our doctors are not safe. And if we're not in an environment that is safe, how can we take care of our patients? We have so many factors pulling doctors out of the country. And here in this country, we now still have factors pushing doctor out. Our voices need to be heard. Dr. Ganiat Popola is a patriotic Nigerian, and she needs to be released. We're talking about an emergency in the healthcare system. We cannot afford to have more doctors go through it and more doctors having reasonable reasons for leaving the shores of the nation. And this is one of it. It's a nationwide problem. We've had so many other issues of kidnaps. We had a professor in Calabar kidnapped. Until today, we don't know of our whereabouts. We had medical students that were also kidnapped and released. It's becoming an endemic situation where the kidnappers know that if they are able to get hold of a doctor, they would have someone to take care of the other people they have kidnapped and also take care of themselves. So we're crying out to the government of the nation to come in and ensure that this does not continue, because it will further cause a negative effect on the healthcare system.
All right.
But they don't know that there's an updated version of that oath, that we should also take care of our own health. How do you expect doctors to work where the institutions where they go to take care of Nigerians, they are not guaranteed of their safety? We are humans like the Nigerians on the streets, and our security is paramount also. I say it gallantly everywhere I go to, that Nigerian doctors are very brave. There are so many opportunities out there. Any doctor you see still staying back in Nigeria is really patriotic. Nigeria is at a tipping point. We cannot afford to lose more doctors. We cannot just afford that.
All right, many thanks, the Secretary of Resident Doctors, Dr. Anaduaka Christopher, for your time on the news at 6.
Thank you very much.
Moving on now, the Austin Agada-led State Working Committee in Benue State has successfully nominated 23 chairmanship and 276 councillorship candidates for the October 5th local government elections. A statement made available to APC in Abuja with publication of names of all the candidates indicated that the exercise took place in all the ward headquarters across the 23 local government areas of the state on Saturday, 24th August 2024. Speaking shortly after the exercise, which was conducted through consensus and affirmation in most local government areas of the state, some chairmanship candidates commended the process, which was hitch-free, and expressed confidence of victory on the secondary elections. And that's it on the news desk on 6 and 18 News 24. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bendo.